RootsOfTheSwampThing.com, your definitive online source for all things Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing is heating up. A brand new series coming from Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. A brand new TV series on DC's streaming service online. RootsOfTheSwampThing.com. A lot of stuff about his history, what he's doing today, and everything in between. Go to RootsOfTheSwampThing.com for more information. Welcome to Wednesday Comics.
Brought to you by RootsOfTheSwampThing.com and SuperCon 2018 Return of the Con.
Hey everyone, keep turning those pages.
Welcome to Wednesday Comics. To my right, we have Lucky himself. Alex, how you doing?
Hello, everybody.
And across from me, we have Nick Fury. Garrett, how you doing?
I got my eye on you.
And I am Mysterio himself. My name is Marvin. This is the Wednesday Comics Podcast. We are a comic book review podcast and other things too, not just reviewing books. But this week we're going to talk about the books that came out on 1/16/2019. That is a Wednesday. As always, Wednesday Comics, that's the name. And but first, stick around to the end of the show. We'll do a game. A new one. It's kind of a twist on something I've done before. I just thought about it, and so we're going to do it. But first, something came out this week. It's called Spider-Man Far From Home trailer. Now, this thing, first off, it didn't come out of the blue, and we knew it was coming, but it kind of came out of the blue because I understand why they're advertising it now. It seems kind of weird, though. 3 Marvel movies at once. I don't think this has ever happened. Usually it's 1, and then for a while with Black Panther and Ant-Man were coming out. No, I mean Avengers. It was 2. And then now, because they're so close together, we have 3 trailers out and we haven't seen any of those 3 movies. So, plus that Sony probably advertising that movie and not Marvel. So, you know, we're in a weird phase right now. So, Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man goes to Europe and is backpacking across Europe with his class. What was that club he was in? Is that a club, right?
The academic club?
It was like academics. Right. They did mathletes or something like that. I don't know, whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah. Oh, no, trivia.
Smart kids of the school.
1 + 1 = 2? Yeah, I can be in there too.
You know it.
So they're going to backpack across Europe. And as always, of course, for Peter Parker, trouble follows you everywhere. Shit's going down. Mysterio's in the movie. Jake Gyllenhaal, one of a great actors of this time. Him, Nick Cage.
Coolest reveal of Mysterio I've ever seen in my life.
He does look cool. We'll talk about his costume here in a second. But first, I want to say something. In terms of a trailer, too much, just enough, or not enough? Garrett?
Well, I laughed because I saw that it was Spider-Man Far From Home teaser trailer, and I was like, pretty sure teaser trailers aren't 3 minutes long. So I thought that was pretty funny, but I think it was the right length for the official first trailer. The only thing that always gets me worried is like all Sony Spider-Man movies, you get to see half the movie before it even comes out.
Well, I was going to say that's Sony's teaser. It's 3 minutes, so right. They like to show off that whole movie before it comes out, like you just said. But Alex, what did you think?
I think this is one of those ones they've almost shown not necessarily too much, but too many fun Easter eggs got spoiled. And I realize a part of that is probably you and I and I'm going to call him in front of the show, Casey, talking about some of these characters that we had seen. So maybe that in ourself, I spoiled it for myself. But there's a lot of stuff that's shown in this movie. And even though Mysterio, I know, was going to be in it, I didn't need to see him yet. Yes, that's exciting, but I don't know if I needed to see him.
You know what the difference is that Sony is advertising this movie. So these trailers, I know what I'm seeing is actually what I'm going to see in the movie. Whereas Marvel is known to like change stuff. So for instance, in the Marvel Avengers Infinity War trailer, when Cap is spoilers if you haven't seen that movie, but when Cap is holding back Thanos' hands from after he punches and he grabs his hand, when you look at his gauntlet there, he only has 2 gems. Obviously, if we've watched the movie, you know he has all of them at that point except for 1. So they remove the gems because they want to spoil that at that point they're fighting for the last one, which is cool because like I can see that scene but not be spoiled and know when it comes in the movie. But for Spider-Man, like I'm pretty sure like that's the movie because they're not going to pull those kind of tricks. Sony is it? I think it was like a little bit too much, but otherwise it was okay. Like Alex was saying, I didn't really think I needed the reveal of all those villains. So, for instance, in the trailer, we see, and it seems like they're mixing two different types of villains: the Molten Man, Hydro Man, Sandman, and then the Elementals. So it's kind of a mix of those. It's what I'm hearing from different websites. There are references to Sandman, Hydro Man, and Molten Man in the trailer, so that's what people think it's them. But also they look more like the Elementals, so people are like, okay, maybe they're just combining the two, which is fine, right? Because Vulture wasn't really the same Vulture we know in the first movie. So that's okay. But I think maybe showing Mysterio fight one of them, I got it, right? He's going to be fighting and helping Spider-Man. But they showed all three, which I don't know is part of their plan or whatever, but if they just would have been Sandman, it would have been like, oh, cool, Sandman's in this movie, Mysterio and Spider-Man, right? Maybe in the other trailers, then I'm expecting it. But what you were just saying, Garrett, teaser. Like, tease me with this. Sandman first.
Right. And it already makes me nervous, because if you look in Spider-Man's past, any movie where there's multiple main villains doesn't really turn out too well. All I'm saying. There's a lot of evidence.
But Homecoming had a lot of quote-unquote villains that if you knew they were villains...
I said main villains, Al.
But Hydro Man's not a main villain.
I don't think they'll be main. I think there'll just be fights that he has. Because they look like they're not smart at all. That's why they're more like just monsters, so we'll see. But Mysterio, I believe... What do you think Mysterio's thing is? Because in the trailer and in the synopsis for the movie, they're playing it off like he's a hero. He's helping Spider-Man. And did you get the impression that's how it's going to conclude, Alex? Or is it he's playing a trick? Well, he's known for tricks.
I think that Quentin Beck wants to look like a hero, so he makes up these elemental bad guys to look like the hero because he's fighting them.
So you
I agree with that.
Until either one gets out of hand and really Spider-Man does have to team up with them, or like I said, he's making these bad guys so he can look like a winner and he's causing people danger. So obviously Spider-Man's got to shut it down.
I do believe that he is, like you said, faking fighting them so he can be the hero, but I do believe that they're actually real. They're not illusions. I think that he eventually is supposed to like pay them off, and then he doesn't pay them off, and then they turn on him, and Spider-Man has to help out, and then we realize that he's the villain. So it's kind of like a Incredible situation, right? With Syndrome, right? He makes the robot turns on him. Yeah. Same thing, I think. I think the illusion is that he has those powers, and that's the trick in the smoke and mirrors. We talked about his suit a second ago. What do you think about the suit? It looks a little different. We do get the fishbowl, and we do get Jake Gyllenhaal's gorgeous face. So two of them. But what do you think about the suit itself, Alex?
I think Mysterio's suit is fine. I've seen a few different renditions of it. When you play the Spider-Man 2 game, he's got a fishbowl, but it's kind of like a big orange, I don't know, Halloween costume. This one at least kind of looks more like the 1990s Spider-Man villain suit. It's got the green, it's got the purple. I'm excited for it. This is one of those villains, though, that we've never seen, much like the Vulture, that I don't care how he looked as long as I know it's Mysterio, and it's not a bad guy that I've seen before that's been reused.
Yeah, I think that it's just a little more realistic. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily something that's supposed to, like, cause a lot of controversy, but I mean, I didn't see it and go, holy crap, that's ghastly. I was like, I could see it.
Like Alex
said, the only suit that I thought was ghastly was the Spider-Man, I think it's supposed to be Noir or the stealth suit.
It's the stealth suit, yeah.
That one I thought was kind of horrible.
What?
He's got a weird strap on the front of his face.
Dude, that's what he started out with as Spider-Man.
What?
The goggles?
But it didn't look like goggles. It looked like a weird leather strap down the front of his face.
What?
His other suit I like, though. The black and the Spider-Man suit.
Not the Alex Ross looking one?
Yeah. That looks good.
I enjoyed that one.
Mysterio's suit, it does, like Alex said, it does look like classic Mysterio, but the color's a little muted. It looks more metal, which I guess you have to do in real life, but it looks fine. Yeah, it looks fine. The fishbowl looks a little off-center. I'm not sure. Maybe they're not done yet with the CG, but he looks a little too skinny. He's not as clunky as we usually see him, but...
What do you guys think about him? Apparently, we know who Mysterio is, but using the same magic that Doctor Strange does. Because the symbols that he's using for his powers are the same types of symbols that Doctor Strange uses.
I wonder if they are exactly like them, or if he's trying to mimic them. And maybe that's one reason maybe these elementals go against him, is he's conjuring them wrong, or if nothing else, he thinks he's doing something right. Like he's trying to look as much like a magician as just a sleight of hand, as a magician instead of a sorcerer.
Yeah. Let me throw something you guys' way, a theory based on this movie, because we have the ability to see these scenes, which this movie is supposed to take place, they say, literally right after Avengers 4 Endgame. They've been on record. Kevin Feige said it takes place like right afterwards. When that movie ends, this movie starts. But in the trailer, it seems like nobody gives a shit that it just happened, right? They all are like going on a Europe trip. Nick Fury shows up. He looks fine. Actually, he looks like he's more put together than he was that we saw last time. And there's a theory going around that in Avengers Endgame, they're going to use time travel to go back and fix everything. And so the Battle of New York that happens never actually happened. And that scene where we see Spider-Man on the bus and he jumps off the bus to help them, that just happens and he goes on the bus and nobody ever realizes, besides the people who reverse time, that anything happened. So for them, like, they've never met Thanos and none of that actually happened, and that's why you get this movie. It kind of resets things in a way.
The battle in New York, the one that took place in Infinity War, not the first.
That one.
Okay.
Battle 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of battles that happen in New York, so I need to know which one we're talking about.
So they say basically it's just reset. So like something will happen to those characters to reset it. Some of them will survive, some of them won't, some of them remember. But everybody else, they're reset, and that's a way to for them to reset the universe. And with any kind of reset, also, there's some butterfly effects and some things are a little bit different. So they think that's going to be how they move forward with Marvel Universe and introduce new people. By them doing that, they kind of mess it up a little bit, which has happened a lot in the Marvel Universe. So
this is one of those movie previews, though, that I realize. We all knew that Spider-Man was coming back. We knew that there was going to be at least a second movie. But it also makes me kind of sad that, in Infinity War, spoiler if you haven't seen it, with the decimation, Spider-Man's gone. That I kind of wish that we wouldn't see this preview, and I realize, I don't know when this movie comes out, July probably?
Yeah, I think so.
July 4th.
There's part of me that I wish that it wouldn't have at least been delivered quite yet. I wish we would have waited until at least after Captain Marvel came out.
Well, I mean, they announced it, so we knew that. Just like they announced Black Panther too.
I know we know that Spider-Man was coming out. It's just one of those things that, where it used to be where when you saw a movie, when I saw Iron Man 1, at the end of that movie, there was the Nick Fury, oh, cool, Avengers might be getting started.
Well, that's the thing, though, Alex. I do agree with you that Nick Fury, like him being shown, be like, okay, well, now he doesn't, nothing happens to him. But, he doesn't have a movie announced. They could have kept that a secret. That part of the trailer...
Whoa. I've heard a lot of rumors that that's not actually Nick Fury.
Yeah, I was going to say, that also is a possibility, too, that maybe he's a Skrull, but...
or Chameleon.
Or Chameleon, somebody. But that whole chunk of Nick Fury being in that movie, that could have been taken out of that trailer, and it would have been the same thing. Have Spider-Man show up and fight those guys. Nick Fury, that was the part where I was like, okay, that's a little too much. The
only thing with Nick Fury that I would assume is that he's there to give Spider-Man a suit, because when we saw the preview, he talks about, "No, I'm not going to bring my suit. I don't need it."
Yeah,
and
but
now he's going to have a suit.
But what I mean is, if that happened in the trailer, he just had a suit, I'd be like, okay, somehow during the movie he gets another suit. I wouldn't. It's just a trailer. In the movie, obviously, I wouldn't be like, if he showed up with another suit, I wouldn't be like, oh, where's that suit come from? But that's what I mean. They explain shit in the trailer, and it's like, no, it's a teaser. Have her show up with the suit. I'm not going to question it. I know that you're just teasing me.
I see what you're saying. He didn't need to be in the trailer.
Yeah, they put him in the trailer to explain, oh, okay, you need to be doing this mission. Here's your suit. And it's like, dude, no. You could have had Spider-Man fighting those guys with Mysterio, and I wouldn't have questioned it in a teaser trailer. In the movie, obviously, yes, you need setup. You need reasons why they're doing stuff. In the teaser, just showing me Spider-Man, I'm in.
Hey, I will say that I do feel the chemistry between Peter and Michelle.
Zendaya.
I know they're dating in real life.
Oh, are they? Oh, I didn't know that. In The Greatest Showman, she was really great. And recently, with my son, he was watching some cartoons, and then her show came on. I don't know what it's called. I forgot what it's called. On Disney Channel, and I watched a little bit. Not bad. She has really good comedic timing. So actually, I am excited to see her be more involved in this movie. And that trailer, yeah, like you said, it felt like they were like really hitting it off. And so I was like, okay, that part's even going to be good. And I hope so. I hope it is.
My last thing I'm going to say about it, unless there's more to talk about, is I love the score of the trailer. I mean, I think that amped it up. It's like taking such an old school score for Spider-Man, but making it so badass to fit that trailer. I thought that was epic.
Didn't they play the Ramones?
They did.
No,
but at the end, when
they did, but
showing Spider-Man, they play the theme from the first movie. So Michael Giacchino doing
who's
remake.
Directing? Is it the same person?
not from the first movie, from like the 1960s cartoon.
I know, that's in the first movie. That's the same theme.
What?
Don't you remember on this show, we played a game, Name That Theme, and I played that, and you said it wasn't memorable, and I said, hey, it's the same thing, and you got mad at me?
Oh, from Spider-Man Homecoming.
Homecoming, yeah.
Oh, no, that's a different mix.
No, it isn't. Go listen to that soundtrack. Michael Giacchino. Alex, what was your
Is it
question?
from the same director?
That, yes,
Homecoming?
I believe so, and I believe it's the same writers, but those writers are now making the Flash movie, so I'm not sure. This might be the last one for them on Spider-Man, and then they're going to go do Flash. So, speaking of which, I actually bring up quick, and then we'll get into reviews here. Aquaman is now DC's highest grossing movie ever. It passed $1 billion. It's more than The Dark Knight made. It's their most successful movie, and I'm going to go see it tomorrow. So, when you listen to this,
hey, I will say I loved it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, I don't get why people are hating so much. I think.
Oh, really? I was going to say all I've heard is positive.
Yeah,
everybody says as long as you go in, everybody's like, as long as you go in knowing that it's not like it's just fun and it doesn't take itself seriously, then it's fine. But yeah.
Oh, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was, I mean, yeah, you'll love it, dude. It was great.
Better than Wonder Woman?
No. What? Okay, wait. In different aspects, yes, though.
No, you already said it. No.
No, because that ending of Wonder Woman's not that great. So.
Because that final fight with Ares is what a waste of time. No one cared. We didn't want him in that movie.
I think they stand alone enough that you can't really compare the two. But I did really enjoy. I mean, I think Aquaman had more fun for you to see. Speaking
of which, and after this we'll move on, but you're talking about the third act of Wonder Woman. I think I just read somewhere, or there was an interview that I read recently, that last part was from a different script. That's why it feels way different. So, yeah,
I heard that too. That they changed it because
I forget it was something where they changed it or it was different scripts. But the first 2/3 are like one movie, and then they added on the last part. So. So I'm excited. I'm gonna go see Aquaman because not only you, but another one of my friends was like, he actually was like, oh yeah, it's great. So I was like, okay. And the movie's made like obviously because it was number one for 3 to 4 weeks. So like, I mean, it's not like it went against that Spider-Man movie. It went against Mary Poppins, which by the way, Garrett, you were 100% correct. I said Mary Poppins was going to be number one, and Aquaman for 3 to 4 weeks was number one. And the box office, it blew everybody's expectations. It's the number one DC movie of all time, over $1 billion it passed actually worldwide, more than The Dark Knight has surpassed that. So, I mean, at least this is in terms of quality. I think it's like you were saying, Gary. You said it was great. My friend who told me to go watch this said it was fun. At least they're getting there with that, and now at least people are so interested. They're so interested to try it. Aquaman, obviously. So maybe that's enough for them to be like, okay, let's move on and keep doing this.
Well, I think that's showing what DC's new strategy is, and that's keep them separate.
And get somebody like a James Wan that's going to take it and like make it his movie.
Right.
That's what happened. Wednesday Comics 1/16/2019. That's the day in which these books came out, and we're going to review them. First up, Fantastic Four number 6. This is Dan Slott and Aaron Kuder. This is, what's it called? Something of Doom? Got out my phone right here.
Is it Herald?
Herald of Doom. That is what it's called. Part 1 of 2 in this issue. It starts off, by the way, guys, let me just say straight up front so people can hear it. I love Doom, every single panel he was in. This is some of the best Doom. He looked great. He acted great. There's a moment when he flies towards Galactus to fight him, and he says, "She goes, are you sure you can take him by himself?" And he's like, "Fuck yeah, I can. I can do anything." Don't.
Those are words that he spoke.
Do not.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, that was in the book. Do not think that I did not sit here and be like, I'm going to reread this later.
You know what's so odd is this is the same writer that we got sick of on Spider-Man. Like, that's just how is this happening?
There are little things where I'm like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. But otherwise, it's great. Like, there's
I
little
thought this
jokes.
is actually the strongest issue that Fantastic Four has had.
I agree.
I agree too. Yeah.
I think
it's their first mission together. Like, legitly, just them.
It's
also got characters that we've grown to love in the past, like Dr. Doom and Galactus, that this team has always gone up against, and it felt like being at home. I loved this issue.
Also, it had, I think it was the first issue which felt like it had a solid story and it stayed on it. Whereas every other issue always kind of just like a side tangent, and like we have a couple pages of something else. So this was the first one that felt focused. The only things that I didn't like, there was every once in a while there was like little jokes, like when the thing slams into that farm and there's like that whole situation. I was just like, okay, that's like the Dan Slott that I didn't like in Spider-Man, but then the rest was great. The rest was Dan Slott that I read on Silver Surfer, and that's a good Dan Slott. I like that Dan Slott. Garrett, what do you think?
I would say, sorry, I got ringed for something. I really think this was the best issue that came out so far too. Doom, what's really unfortunate is, we all read, at least, we all read that, right? When he tried to be a hero. I can't remember what it's
Infamous
called.
Iron Man?
Infamous Iron Man. And like that ended pretty lackluster, and then Doom didn't really get touched that much until the new Fantastic. Okay.
Oh.
Didn't get brought back up again, you immature. And now that he's back, like in true form and function, I wish I would have kind of seen how he got back to that point. But it's truly epic, and I was so surprised that Doom was like as domineering as he was in this issue. I mean, I know Marvin had faith 100% the entire time, but I was like super impressed, and yeah, definitely my favorite issue of the series so far.
I think a part of me is that it felt like a different book, even from like issue 3 and 4, still with Dan Slott writing it. And this, I don't know what tied it well together, if it was actually the Fantastic Four were together. They seemed like a family. And Marvin, I know you didn't read issue 5, or if you did, I loved issue 5. I thought it was a really good lead up to this point. I have one question for you.
Yeah, was it the wedding?
No. It was actually in this issue.
Oh, okay.
Alicia is sitting there with her ring, and it's turning pink. Now, she's the puppeteer master's stepdaughter, correct?
Okay. I'm not sure.
Does she have some of that magic clay?
I'm not sure. You would have to consult with more of an expert on her than me. But
whoa, I thought you were the Fantastic Four expert. That's why I came to you.
The runs that I read, they don't really
can't trust you anymore.
That's why I was never invested in their relationship, because I really don't know that much about her. So,
okay. So in issue 5, it tells you that her stepfather is the puppet master, or puppeteer, or whatever his name is. But there's just one point where she's playing with her ring in this issue, and I wonder what's going on. If there's something.
She just got married.
But look at her ring. Her ring is pink, and I don't assume she's got a pink diamond.
All right.
I don't know if you can pull it up, Garrett or Marvin, whoever. Yeah, but I just want to know what you guys thought of it, because her ring was pink, and she's playing with it almost like she's got this devilish smile on her face. It made me curious, but if we don't know yet, we'll find out as time progresses.
I mean, I guess you're right, because they did cut.
You ruined Alicia for me. Damn.
They cut to that and focused on it, like it was almost like they're supposed to question it. But I guess for me, I was just, I don't know. I think I didn't really pay attention that much to those kind of panels. But
I don't looking for other stuff. Gosh,
Doom was in the book. I was blinded by Doom. I told you already.
I know you were. You saw the big metal faced freak, and you're like,
The only
let
thing
me get me some of that Doom.
the only thing I don't like about Aaron Cooter, well, there's like one thing, but the rest was fine. There's one panel where he gives Reed Richards like a 5 head, and I was like, okay, what's up with this head? But otherwise, it's fine, and actually pretty great, I thought. So this was like a good 8 for me. High 8, could have been a 9. Doom is most of that, but I did like them together. But that thing part with the farm, I don't know why I was just like, hey, yeah, I got it. Let's go.
I have one last, like, the one thing that I'm super confused about is like Doom's like reimagined hatred for the Fantastic Four, because and obviously by the cliffhanger, there was a lot of things by design, but it's like I think they're just kind of throwing out the old Doom by any other writer up till Dan Slotts and kind of giving you that more classic Doom, but I feel like that's an injustice to fans that have read Doom the last couple of years, because now I'm just like, why does he hate them again? Like, he literally was lamenting them being gone because they like challenged his intellect. So
I think he hates Reed. I mean, he was mad that they were gone because there's nobody left to challenge him. He always liked the challenge, but he still doesn't like him.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but he worked with Ben and Johnny when they were looking for them. So it's not like Doom didn't want them to come back.
But he wanted to come back so he could beat their ass. That's Doom,
yeah,
baby.
I get that. But, I agree with Garrett, though. In issue 1 is the last time we saw him, and it was like, hey, I hate everybody again. I came back here. I think a part of it is that I am missing out on a little story that leads into where we are right now. But I did love the fact that Doom told them, dudes, I was planning this the whole time. He's not coming after you on accident. I planned it, yo. Bitches.
Well, that makes me hopeful there'll be like a flashback issue, maybe next issue, kind of telling the backstory of how he's duping the Fantastic Four, basically.
Well, they obviously still don't trust him, Reed and Sue and the kids, because they still have memories of Secret Wars where he was evil Emperor Doom. So, yeah. So I mean, like, they're still, for them, it's still the same old Doom. Even if he would have turned the leaf, they still wouldn't have trust him.
And hey, did they make Dr. Doom Valeria's godfather?
He's always been Valeria's godfather.
Why?
When did he agree to do that?
Years and years ago. Valeria went to go live with him for a long time. So
weird.
That's why I said, like, they have this relationship where sometimes Doom, when he's not fighting them, like, they still, like, there's like a relationship that they have with Fantastic Four where they're not always trying to kill each other, but he also, I mean, that might have been the reason why he was kind of sad that they weren't there, but also he doesn't like them like involving themselves in his business. And so when they come to Latveria, they might be
Latveria?
Like, he was probably mad being like, what are you doing here? But then, I mean, he's orchestrated it all. We'll have to see. The thing is, it's very complicated, this guy. And that's the reason why I love this guy.
I'm giving this a 9. I really enjoyed this. This was a saving grace for this series for me. So I gotta give it credit where credit's due. This was good.
This is actually the issue, and I love Fantastic Four, but I also don't like a meandering story, which is usually what Dan Slott does. Well, I mean, he did on Spider-Man, but on Silver Surfer, he kept it more fast-paced and contained. This was the issue where I was like, okay, I'll stay on here. So it was good. The cover's great, by the way, too.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9 also. I said my piece on it, but I think Doom is just the right amount of the formula that everything's working out really great now.
Alex, what else we get?
Excuse me. The Batman Who Laughs #2, Behold the Grim Knight. Scott Snyder wrote it, and Jock did the art for it.
Where has this Scott Snyder been? Like, I loved issue 2.
I liked most of it. Most of the dialogue was really good. Most of the what do you call it?
Detective work?
No. The words that are in the boxes, what are they called? Like the pro type of stuff.
The interior monologue?
Yeah. Most of that was pretty good for me. Once we got where Batman Who Laughs showed up, I actually enjoyed that a lot more. But the reveal at the end of the book was really a solid end for me. I liked it. It's great. And you're right. Where's the Scott Snyder been? But there's one thing that irritated me in this book, and it wasn't even part of the book. It was a flyer for Justice League saying that that book is amazing. I would doubt that. That's not true.
Well, I think this is what I've been missing from a Batman book is detective work. And literally the first 10 pages is detective work. And, I love Tom King doing Batman. I love Peter Tomasi doing detective, but I'm like, where's the detective part about the world's greatest detective? And that's what's sorely missing right now. And I think, however stray that Scott Snyder's got, his Batman detective is still incredible. He puts enough mystery in each story that it is compelling because you just want to follow the thread that he's unraveling.
It amazes me how. So, as we all know, or I guess if you don't know, Batman Who Laughs is a Bruce Wayne who killed Joker and was turned into a Joker Batman. It amazes me how well thought out and methodical the Batman Who Laughs is. Because there's a part of me that thinks he would be crazy, and I suppose maybe the well-mannered, disciplined Bruce Wayne side forces the crazy Joker, sociopathic, psychotic guy to be almost balanced, where he has no remorse for killing anybody, but he is so well thought out when it comes to hiring the grim knight. I don't know. This book impresses me for what we're getting out of it.
Well, that's almost opening a can of worms because, the Joker, a lot of people have two trains of thought. That one, that, he's just crazy and maniacal. The other is that he is only crazy because he controls what he's in full control of his actions and his psychosis. So those crazy things that he always says he just thought of, it's no, he planned those. So there's I feel like there's always been an element where people think Batman and Joker are so separate, but they actually are very similar. So when it comes to Batman becoming Joker, I mean, that's like a freaking double layered Oreo sandwich right there. It's just saying, you're adding way more layers to this already complicated entity. And now you have, I think that was so cool at the end fight of this issue where they're fighting and they're doing the same technique, but then our Batman had to create a new technique because he knew that the Batman Who Laughs wouldn't know it, and I thought that was amazing. That was so cool.
Yeah, a well thought out thought for the writing for Scott to make up, and for even Bruce to have thought of in the book. Going, I got to fight this guy, and I need to use a technique he would never think of using. Although I'm guessing he could eventually learn it or think of it. So as this book progresses, our Bruce Wayne, our Batman, is turning into Joker. He's actually turning into a Batman Who Laughs type of character. And so the only person that, as he's hunting down the Batman Who Laughs, he's running into other dead bodies of other Bruce Waynes from other dimensions or other worlds. He's seen a mayor. What was the first one? He's got a kid and he's got a family. He's all these other Bruce Waynes are happy. And the Batman Who Laughs tells Bruce, you're the only one of us who's not happy, who's not doing the best work that you could be doing. And which is really interesting. My question is, do we know that the Grim Knight is a Bruce Wayne? Or
we don't.
Is it Dick Grayson from Tom King's The Gift?
Well, there's another miniseries coming out about the Grim Knights, so that's probably going to give you that answer.
Okay. I thought this was really good, and I'm actually excited that I'm getting this book and to be getting more of it's almost kind of a horror book because this is scarier knowing that this Joker is a Batman.
Yeah, and I was really hesitant to get this issue because I wasn't that huge a fan of issue 1. But something just clicked. I started reading this and I was like, wow, this is so good. And it took me back to those days when Scott Snyder was writing Batman. And I'm like, this is how you should be writing. The only thing that I was bummed about is the cliffhanger. Like you said, that was really great, and I agree it was a great reveal. But he's been guest starring in Batgirl so freaking much that I'm like, okay. Like it would have been cooler because like I know that Scott Snyder wasn't that his creation was James, not James, but James Jr.
But it's a nice callback to his last run in Detective.
It is, but I'm saying he's been around so much. Like I think only like 2 issues ago from Batgirl or like that annual he was in. You know, and it's like it would have been cooler if he hadn't been used as much. Kind of, you know, like you're saying with the Spider-Man trailer coming out before Avengers has even come out yet. You know, it's the same kind of.
It's like having Wolverine in a book or having other characters in a book too much when they've already made their presence known. And to be fair, James has been dead for has been killed X amount of times. Then to find out he's in prison. Then to find out now he's out and about causing trouble.
And now he's in a meat market.
Yeah. The only person who knows what the Batman Who Laughs would do.
I'm going to give this a 10, only because I think this is the best Detective Batman issue that I've read in a long time.
Okay, I was going to give it a 7, because it was good, but nothing really blew me out of the water yet.
Well, we didn't even talk about Jock's art, which was also so incredible. I mean, that's an artist that instantly fits into this book. I mean, it's gory, it's crazy, it's scary at times. That art it's just so cinematic that I can't believe that, you know, I just really wish he was doing more monthly comics. I know he does, but and he's very detailed, so it'd be cool if he could be on more projects or do like original trades. But, you know, when you're that great an artist, it's hard to pump out a lot of stuff.
I think Jock is a good artist. I don't know if he's probably not even on my top 15 list. I think he does fit the story very well, fits this book, the style, but I don't know if it's what I don't know. I don't know if he's one of those ones I go out of my way to get this book just to see his art, because it is great, but I don't know if it's even his best work that I've seen.
All right, next we got Gideon Falls, number 10, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Andrea Sorrentino. What do you guys think?
So the last issue ended with them getting the key to the Black Barn door, and they put it together in this issue, and they want to see what happens when they put the key in. But he said something's missing. We got to go put this back in that landfill because I think it has some sort of magic there. And for a long time in this issue, by the way, I love this issue straight up front, but art was fantastic. The story with the pacing was very suspenseful. And they're going through this story. We see the father's side of it. He's trying to figure out what's going on. And he is following these visions. And he goes off go back where the Black Barn originally was before it disappeared when he hears that story. And when Norton puts the barn door together and puts in the key... By the way, so it ended last issue with them finding that key. And the whole time they're like doing it, I'm like, are they not going to open this door in this issue? But it was so suspenseful. The last, 2-3 pages. They open this door, some weird stuff happens, and in the last page, they're meeting face to face, Norton and the father. And for me, when it said to be continued, this issue was like, okay, now we're getting into a different phase of the story, and I'm so excited to see where the series is going. I was just like, okay, now I have no clue what's going to happen next, which I've had in this whole series, which is what's so great about it, I think.
So what has happened? Are they in different timelines? Are they?
That's what I said. I don't know. We're going to figure it out, baby.
Okay.
Dimensions, timelines, whatever.
Like, even when you see Sorrentino's art where he's doing that twist of their stories interconnecting, and where they connect is them putting the door up, I was blown away. One, it looked amazing. But now I've got so many questions. And
I think they confirm
holy shit,
that Norton's not his real name, and that he's actually the sheriff's brother that they've been missing. Danny, right? I think it was Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they showed Reddy bringing him to the not the junkyard, but the landfill, and then he disappeared, and then that's where he first appeared, he said. So we made the conclusion. I mean, we can put the clues together and be like, okay, well, that must be him. Norton Sinclair was the first guy. The Smiley Man is Norton Sinclair, and he was a murderer, and he's the one who originally, like, he murdered people in his black barn. And when they came to arrest them, the black barn, and they fell in, and they were never seen again, and the black barn disappeared. So I'm assuming that he thinks his name is Norton Sinclair for some reason because the Smiley Man is making him think he's crazy, but it's actually this kid that's been missing from that other timeline.
So I actually disagree with you. I think it's, for me, like what I was getting out of that, like I find it kind of more terrifying that that boy's body is who Norton Sinclair has possessed. And yes, like, you know, he doesn't remember anything, but I feel like obviously he knows more than he's giving off. And I mean, I might be completely wrong. You might be completely wrong. We both might be completely wrong, but like, I think there's something kind of haunting, and I could kind of feel it that Norton Sinclair, you know, he's the one that, like, didn't he commit a bunch of murders?
Yeah.
And right. And so for him to be hiding in that young boy's body, but now he's like trying to find the black barn again. Like, there's something about that that's just like, I feel like there's something that's going to be revealed that I feel like Norton Sinclair, like, that might not be, like, that's the brother of the sheriff, but I feel like there's some other thing inside that is Norton Sinclair.
It's very possible.
This book amazes me that this is a Jeff Lemire book. Like, I read this, and as you guys are talking about it right now, I'm just going, wow, I cannot believe that Jeff wrote this book, and it sounds nothing like any of the other books he's written, but the story is so well thought out. This wicked cliffhanger of a twist blows my mind. Like, I'm listening to you guys talk, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're saying. I'll just gotta wait until issue 11 comes out.
I was gonna say, but so my opinion that this book is very cinematic. I still hold that opinion. Like, it's very set up. It almost feels like a movie in a way. The pacing, it seems like it's set up that way, which is no surprise that they want to make this into I think a TV series. I got picked up for a TV series, but
you can't do DNA helixes on the TV screen.
What? Oh, I see what you mean.
No, I was trying to see what, like, I was thinking that this whole issue too, because like it just looked visually so different, I think, at certain points, that I was like, how the hell did they do this on TV?
I was going to say that your point, Garrett, that it could be, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's what's so interesting with this book, right, is that I'm not sure where it's going, where a lot of comics, you can be like, okay, I know the beats. It's just done very well. Or you can at least guess the possibilities. For this, I have no clue. It could go any way. I just was basing it on that doctor looked like the Smiley Man that we saw, so I figured that was him. But he might be inheriting that doctor's body. But you might be right. He might be seeing it in everybody else because the Norton's in him, and he thinks he's being tortured by this guy, but he actually is being possessed by this guy. So,
but like one part that I think adds to both our theories is like there's that scene where Norton finally gets to the landfill, and he stares at at the kid, and then he's just like, oh. Like, he's surprised and shocked, and I don't know if that's surprised and shocked because he recognizes him, if he's surprised because there's a kid standing in the middle of the landfill. Like, we're obviously going to get more answers. And
I don't think the kid was actually there. He was just having a flashback because he's like, oh, I know where I came from now. I didn't come from the construction place. From across the street. I came from the landfill. And so he found where he was from, and he was like, okay, now I remember. So we'll see. It was very, very well done. The last issue was fantastic too, by the way. I love the last issue. In terms of pacing, art, everything, like this issue for me, this was my 10 this week. This was my pick. Gideon Falls. I love this issue. It was just fantastic. And I was like, okay, this book is fantastic. I need more of this. I don't need, like, if Jeff were one day to be like, hey, I'm working on so many books, I'd be like, Jeff, Gideon Falls, I don't care. That's what the one you work on. This book is definitely a reason, and I put it on my number one best new series. Definitely in the running for the best series so far this year. Well, 1 month. Okay. But you know what I mean.
Did you guys, what do you guys think of that cover for the next issue?
Awesome.
It'd be very awesome. I think we're going to get some answers about what's inside the black bar. So
yeah, and I'm a little hesitant because I feel like we're getting close to the end of the series.
I don't know. Possibly. I think I mean, Jeff has gone with long series like Sweet Tooth. How much is that, Alex? 50?
40 issues.
40 issues. That's 5 years of content. Or, nope, not 5 years.
It's 3.5.
3.5. Or we've had like Royal City where it was 12, right? So
16.
16, close enough.
No.
13.
No, I think it's 14. I think it's 14.
So it could go either way. So
Right.
I hope it doesn't go on forever. Obviously, there's a story to be told. I just hope it goes enough for me to tell a story. I just feel selfish to be like, okay, this can last like 20, 25 issues.
Yeah.
But if it lasts like 15, okay. If that's the story you got to tell, that's the story you got to tell. But this was a 10 for me.
I think as a series goes, Gideon Falls maybe has my favorite covers that have been put out in a long time. They always look so good. They always have that face in them. But then when I look at issue 11, there's no face. There's like the negative zone, or where does Doctor Strange go at the end of his movie? Dark World or Dark Space or wherever Dormammu is. That's what that place looks like.
Yeah, this is definitely my favorite issue of the series. I'm going to give it a 10 as well. I think, there was so much adrenaline reading this, and like, I think I remember that in issue 1. Like, when there's adrenaline, or like when I'm kind of getting anxious when I'm turning the page, then I know it's a really good horror comic.
I'll give it a 10.
Oh, okay.
Well, no one gives a shit what I think. Okay, whatever.
I thought you did already. I zoned out when you were talking. Black Panther number 7. Am I right?
I think it's 8.
Oh, might be 8. I read 7 and 8 back to back. So, number 8. This is by Ta-Nehisi Coates and Kev Walker. I did notice, if you guys are paying attention to the credits, the last issue 7 said written by Ta-Nehisi Coates, art by Kev Walker, and this issue just said by Ta-Nehisi Coates and Kev Walker. So, which I did feel like this issue specifically was really cohesive in the story and the art. Like, the art was telling a lot of the story. So I feel like that's why Coates felt the need to be like, oh, no, he's going to be co-credited with creating this issue. In this issue, we have T'Challa. He has to go on a refugee boat where they're mining stuff, right? And they're mining vibranium. And they need that vibranium. God, I forgot why already. They need it for something, right? They need to restore the memories for the people that are nameless. And he gets on board. He goes, "What about these refugees?" And they're like, "No, leave them behind." He's like, "I was one of these." She goes, "No, we came specifically for you. We didn't want to rescue refugees. We wanted to rescue you." And he gets on board. He goes, "Okay." And he sees the father and a son. And he's like, "You can't leave us behind." He's like, "I can't really take you." And then the father gets shot in the back. And T'Challa throws a spear, a laser spear, through the guy that shot him, and then the kid's only there, and he's like, nope. He's like, not going to do this. He's like, I can't just leave these people behind. Gives the kid his Black Panther mask and takes over the ship. Oh, first off, kills everybody.
Yeah, I was going to say, takes over is pretty light.
Destroys everybody. He goes John Wick on their ass, and he takes over the ship, and they're like, what are you doing? And he's using the ship. He's going to jump the ship and basically steal the ship and save everybody, because they said that we can't rescue these people because we don't have room on our ship. And he's like, well, I'll fucking steal the ship then. I'll
kill everybody and take their ship.
I have loved that sequence, because there's always things in this series, because this is obviously, he doesn't remember anything really, and he's been told he's the one, he's T'Challa, The last line of this issue, by the way, was fantastic, based on his name, that he's the one who sticks the knife. Where does he stick it?
Where it belongs.
Where it belongs. And then the last issue, he's like, I'm going to finally stick the knife where it belongs. But this was really like a T'Challa character moment when he's like, no, I can't do this. Like, I don't care. He is, a soldier. He is a leader. But at the end of the day, he is a hero. And so when he goes in there and they're like, you can't leave us, he's like, I can't. And so he does what he does. He doesn't care if he's got to kill people. And he takes that ship. It was fantastic, I thought.
Well, I liked how he gives his mask to the boy, and the boy goes and hides in the vents. And a part of me then was like, T'Challa is just going to show his face to everybody. Obviously, everybody's got to die.
Wow.
I think he gave the kid his mask so he would feel brave.
No, that's what I mean. He gave this boy power by giving him his mask. Like,
he was like, we're going to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. But then it also just was like, oh, T'Challa just showed his face to everybody. Everybody's got to die.
They saw his face, and then they saw a blaster baby. Like, this guy killed everybody. And then, which, by the way, it's not the whole issue, but it was a main part of the issue. I think that this story, at least the last two issues, the Intergalactic Empire Wakanda, have been fantastic with Kev Walker doing the art. I still find it so alienating, and alien is no pun intended, but it feels weird that seeing Black Panther in this kind of element, because it really is super sci-fi adventure, and the way that they're framing it, the story is that it feels like T'Challa, like we feel as out of place as he does, but it works, and it works very well. Like, I don't ever want this to end. It obviously has to go back to Earth at some point and go back to T'Challa that we know, but I don't want it to. Like, it's fantastic.
Well, I think, this issue, I think it's been a long time since I've read like a one-shot where it's literally just a hero being a hero. Like, there's not these huge overcomplicated plots. Like, this was seriously, T'Challa had to go do a mission. He changed the parameters because he's a fucking hero. Like, he wants to do what's right for these people instead of just, following his orders. And that's what makes him a king and not really a soldier. He's not. And clearly, this entire series, he hasn't followed any orders from M'Baku or the other, whatever her name is. Nakia. And that's because that's not who he is inside. He's Bast reincarnated, so it's his morals, and he's going to always do what's right. And, like, I just read this, and, like, I seriously was just, like, not to get cheesy, but I was just, like, smiling. I was like, that was just, like, a really heartwarming, like, uplifting tale about a hero doing what he does best, and I thought that was awesome.
Well, that's the one thing, is that I like that they didn't sideline his character, where it's not that he was necessarily wanting to be disobedient, but he knows the right thing to do is to save these people. If he had never been on the ship, then of course he couldn't save them. But T'Challa knows the right thing to do is to save these men, women, children. They don't deserve to live this life that these, I don't know, dinosaur Goomba-looking aliens are going to give them.
I do find it very, like, they made a good choice by making Coates the writer of this and Captain America, because these two characters, the reason why I love both these characters is they share some of the same characteristics. Like, Cap's going to do anything, not for the leaders or people in charge, but for America and what he believes America's ideals are and the American people, and where Black Panther would do the same thing for his city and the Wakandan people. But at the end of the day, they both will do anything that is correct, and, like, they're heroes. So they're not just going to leave people behind like this. So they'll find a way to make it happen. Like, if you think back to Jonathan Hickman's Avengers series, I think it was actually New Avengers, when they find out that there's incursions happening and that worlds are crashing into each other, and they're trying to, all the other Illuminati except for Cap are trying to figure out, how do we blow up that planet so that it doesn't blow us up? And Cap says, no, like, we're not going to kill all those people so that we can live. And they're like, there's no other way, Cap. He goes, there's got to be a way so that nobody has to die. Like, we got to figure out a way. It's a hard thing to do, but we're not going to take the easy way out and just blow them up and be like, okay, we're safe. He's like, we're going to save everybody. And they mind wipe him. We're like, nope, we're not going to do that. Because him, like, at the end of the day, these guys, like, they don't want to make the sacrifice because it's easy. They want to do what's right, even if it's harder.
Well, that's a great example.
Isn't Black
Marvin.
Panther part of the Illuminati?
Yeah, I was going to say, except Black Panther's in that.
Well, I mean, different characteristics.
Let's love the planet.
He was a different man then. Namor hated him. So this man got some memory wipes. You know, people's past changed them.
So do you, Marvin. You got some memory wipes too.
You know what I was just thinking about, Alex, when you were talking about this? It's interesting to think that this series started out with David Aja. David Acuna. And he's been off when we were like, man, like, he's a crucial part of this book. And then we had a couple issues with some guest artists, the Jen Bartley, right, from Blackbird. And then this last two issues with Kev Walker. And I don't feel like any of those issues have lost any of what I love about this book. If anything, the people who have jumped on this book understand how it's supposed to be. So like even though it feels different than Akuna's issues, it still feels like the characters are still there, and so I don't mind it being a different artist.
But I think the thing that Akuna's book, like his books, seem to be more of the big battle, spaceships, all that jazz. These other 3 issues that we've gotten almost are more character oriented. So the first, number 6, I believe it was the Killmonger killing the godly power of Bast and getting that power from her as he uses the venom to get her. These ones with Killmonger, they're strong issues. I don't know if I care for the art style as much, but it does fit what the issue has in store. That they're very strong. I'm excited to see what this series has in the long run. I know, like you said, eventually it does have to go back to where we're back on Earth. But I think a part of me is enjoying this Black Panther so much because it is different. It isn't just in Wakanda and him protecting his country. It's him protecting his kingdom, even though he doesn't realize it's his kingdom up in space. And to have this book really impresses me.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna be on the corniness wagon, and I'm gonna give this book a 10. Like I said, if this book, down to its core, is a book about a hero, not saying that obviously every other comic we read is about one, but I think this was a really good story about a hero doing what a hero does best, and you can't beat that storytelling wise. And I really enjoyed Kev Walker's art. It didn't even skip a beat for me.
I'll say,
is he a hero if he kills everybody?
Yeah, sometimes you got to kill, baby.
Okay.
Life's not perfect.
I'm just questioning.
It was a 10 for me too. Like, it was between this one and Gideon Falls for the one I enjoyed more. And I was like trying to think of it, and I gave it to Gideon just because of that unknown. Where like I was like, I don't know what's going on, and it's fresh. But Black Panther is very excellent. This and Captain America blow me away every single week it comes out, and are Marvel's 2 best books, and have cemented for me that Ta-Nehisi Coates is a writer I want to continue reading. So, Alex, what'd you give it?
I give this a 9. I really did enjoy it. It would have been a 10 if Killmonger would have been in it, but what can you do?
Wasn't he in the last issue?
No. What?
Oh, I thought he was.
If he is, then he's in it for a very minimal second.
Oh, okay. Alex, what else?
I don't remember seeing him.
I remember seeing him on the cover. I think I don't remember if I remember him in the book, or if he is, he's in like one panel.
Catwoman
what
number
else
7.
Did we get this week?
Go ahead.
I'm getting to shut up. We let you jabber about Captain. He wasn't even in this book.
Boom! Roasted.
Catwoman number 7, written by Joelle Jones, art by Fernando Blanco and Elena Casagrande. I don't know if I liked the art as like the art was great in this book, and a lot of it was really just Selena Kyle proving that she is the best at looking like a seductress.
The art isn't.
Whoa!
The Joel Jones is like on a different level. This art was fantastic, but it's not Joel Jones. But in terms of storytelling, this issue I thought was great. Some parts shocked me. Some parts were like had some really dark humor that I wasn't expecting. For instance, Penguin.
The cab scene with Penguin.
He's in the back of the. I think it wasn't a limo. I thought it was a limo. Or no, it is. You're right. You're right. It's
like a lift or something.
Yeah, it's a lift. Yeah. So he's taking a lift, and the guy can't shut up, and he's like, "Hey, pull over here." And he's like, "But this is the highway. I can just pull over on the highway." He goes, "Pull over." He goes, "All right, I'll pull over." He pulls over, just shoots the guy in the head because he was tired of fucking talking. And it's bloody. There's blood everywhere, and it's like a very gruesome scene.
It's like in Pulp Fiction when they shot Marvin in the face.
It's a very gruesome scene, like dripping blood and everything like that, which surprised me and made me stop for a second and think, is this the most violent DC book with like the superheroes in it? It might not be, but like for a Batman book, maybe. And I sat there being like, oh, I didn't expect that, but cool. And Penguin in this issue, I thought was a nice foil to Catwoman. Like Catwoman is she's a hero now. Like she is a hero. She's not like 100% there, but she's good enough. And Penguin wants to send his goons after her and be like, hey, bring me her. They blow up a Ferris wheel, and she, to get her attention. Like, what are you going to... The Penguin goes big. He doesn't go small. And at the end, she basically goes to him instead of them coming to her and getting her, and she beats up everybody, which is a fantastic scene. Did you think,
Yes.
Alex? It was almost like
Yes.
the hallway scene in the raid. It was like so good.
Well, it's just one of those things that I think I love. Like when you play a brawler game where you're going through the level and you're just beating the shit out of all the henchmen just to get to the boss. And that's what this was.
Yeah.
One guy gets in the way, beats the crap out of him. Another guy she throws him through a window. One of them she went to hit in the face with her whip and actually caught his hand and then hung him upside down. This was so good.
And
that fight scene.
And going back to that dark humor, she like tries to hit him in the face, and he gets scared by it, and she goes, "Oh, sorry, I was trying to hit you in the face." He's like, "What?" There was also a scene where she kicks somebody and their face like gets smashed into that aquarium, and they show the shot from the inside of the aquarium. I thought that was a fantastic shot. So even in terms of the panels, I mean, the cinematography in this issue, it was fantastic, and I was like, this book is really fun, especially this new arc that we're on. I think we're past all the wedding stuff, and now we're just doing a Catwoman book, which is pretty good. So
great. That's what I wanted. I want a Catwoman book. I don't want I miss Batman, and everyone thinks I should miss Batman. No, this is just her doing her own thing.
And the other villain, the vanity lady who's missing her face, was also in this issue. They're setting it up for a bigger thing, I think, but...
That scene was great too. You're so pretty. You're so perfect. Look at this face of mine.
Oh god, she looks so gross.
You said that scene where she slams the guy's face on the aquarium.
Yeah,
and you see that crack in the glass, and then when you look at his mouth, there's blood splurting out of his mouth.
Yeah,
so she must have beat the shit out of him.
That's what I mean. There's like little touches like that which aren't really that graphic, but they make it more gruesome because it's like. It makes it seem more real, so it seems more gruesome. It's not as cartoony violence as it's a very colorful book. So to have that kind of violence is kind of like, in a way, doesn't make sense in your brain. Shocking. So it is shocking. Like the penguin scene that I talked about. It's just like, whoa, Jesus, what's going on here? By the way, the penguin in this book looks fantastic. I like it the way he's designed in this book. Seems like he doesn't seem full on like because usually some people draw him where you're like, that doesn't look like a person. That looks like you just drew some guy with a huge nose and like nobody's nose is ever that big. This was like, okay, that's a person. And also I see why they call him Penguin.
This looks like a mix between the animated series Batman and which one is that where he's actually kind of a skinnier looking, like he's a nice solid mix of fat, but not overly fat that you couldn't fit through the door.
He looks like he's like stocky. He's not fat.
He's husky. He takes care of himself at least.
You know what it reminded me of is, speaking of the animated series, he does look a little bit like that. But do you know when they do those things where they make cartoon characters realistic, like The Simpsons, and you're always like, oh god, they look so... That's what it looked like. It looked like they saw that and was like, okay, make that realistic then. And then they made him into a real person, and he looks very menacing, very scary. Because usually the Penguin, even though he's supposed to be a gangster, by the way he looks, people don't take him seriously. But in this book, I was just like, okay, that's a gangster. Like, that's a guy who, and especially the way, like, he's going to shoot a guy in the back of the head for talking too much. Like, that was full up Sopranos, like a guy would have done. I would be like, okay, yeah, that's a mobster.
Maybe that's the thing. Is normally when I see the Penguin, I don't get that fear tactic, and normally I guess it's from Batman's side of things. Where as Batman's obviously not afraid of anybody, especially someone who only stands 4 feet tall. But when I think of it, it's like at least Penguin has not necessarily the upper hand, but he did bring the thugs. But he has just something to run by her, and just wanted to send the invitation. He didn't expect her to beat the shit out of everybody, but like you just saw. He's also willing to kill if he needs to, even for no reason.
Hey, sometimes you don't shut up. You need that umbrella gun to the back of the head. So this was a strong 9 for me. It was a very good.
Yes, 9. I really enjoyed this book. I'm glad I'm still on it.
Yeah, it's good. The covers are fantastic too. Joel Jones.
Deadly Class number 36, written by Rick Remender with art by Wes Craig. Otherwise, you could call it Deadly Class number 35.5.
Is it just me? Or because my memory is horrible, but I felt like I didn't understand what was going on before this. I didn't remember, and so I felt very confused by this issue.
How I remember the last issue ending, I thought was Victor, right? Is it Victor? Yeah.
Yep.
Victor versus Marcus, and they're beating the shit out of each other. And that was what I remember happening. Then all of a sudden, we're in the middle of Arizona, maybe, and we're having this peyote drug-infested story that, no offense, was the wrong issue to jump in on. As coming off of how long of a break it was.
It's weird.
This issue it didn't scream, "Hey, read me, I'm a good book again." This was like, I didn't know what to write, so I just put a whole lot of shit on here. The art looked spectacular, but there's just a lot of shit being told at one time that didn't make any sense other than Marcus is having doubts on what's going on. And all my friends are dead, and I love Maria, and whiny. I need to get back to school.
Well, it was like a scenic route to telling you what's happened in this series. I don't know if for new readers or not, but like clearly, because the new TV show came out this week. So I don't know why anyone would ever say, "Hey, jump on Deadly Class 36 and you'll be able to get right into the story." But this kind of, if you were on drugs, would get you there.
And so I'm sure if I used Tawasi, whatever his name's uncle's or great grandpa's peyote, I'm sure I could have read this book no problem and been not confused.
I think, Alex, you nail it right on the head, is that it's weird that this is the issue coming back because it's so surreal and so like you would have to be reading the whole book and remember every single thing and confusing because he's on drugs. That for me in this issue, I'm like, am I missing something? Like, what's going on? Like, I understand everything he's talking about, but I'm not really invested coming back into an issue where you're basically just recapping. You're recapping what has happened so far, but also trying to tell me that Marcus is, reviewing things and seeing how he feels about everything that's happened in his life. But it seems weird that this wasn't like the second to last issue before he went on that break, or not unintentional break, or I don't know what he was doing. The first issue coming back should be like a first issue of a series. Like, boom, let's make it self-contained, let's make it fun, and then I'm back into it. Like, even if this was the next issue, I would have felt fine. But just to be the issue coming back, I wasn't invested. Like, I understand everything that's going on, like, but I think that's what the thing is. I don't think it was not well written. I thought it was fine, but I wasn't invested in the story at all, and I just felt like this is the issue I've been waiting for. Like, how long did I say on the forecast? 6 months?
At least 6 months. But I think my thought would be then, like you said, this is a recap book. The whole issue is recapping his life, or at least what he's chosen to do within this book. I didn't want that. I could have skipped this book. The only thing I needed from this was the last maybe 4 pages where I'm finding out where this book is now lending us to. And it's him meeting up with his friends going, "Okay, everybody, we're going back to school. I'm not sure how we're going to get back into that school because it's a secret school. But we're getting back in there as rats.
Which also
kick the snakes' asses."
Which also, by the way, so I actually started reading it and I went back and read, because the first page has like an actual recap on it. And it only tells the story up to the like 2 arcs ago. Like, it doesn't actually tell you what's the last thing that happened. It tells you like Maria and Marcus are in Mexico and they found them. And I was like, yeah, that was like a while ago. Like, it wasn't the last thing that happened. Yeah. And so that's why I felt like, what's going on? Like, that confused me more. Like, if it's actually going to be a recap, why are you acting like none of that happened? I don't know.
You know what? And I honestly don't remember that last arc even ending.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what I mean. That's why I was so confused, being like, am I missing something here?
The last thing I remember was that he left Victor in the water, didn't he? Not dead, but just beat the piss out of him and left him in the water.
See, that's what I thought too. But then how do we get here? I don't know.
Then when they get back to school, Victor's going to be like, "Dylan, you son of a bitch," and they're going to high five because now they're going to be besties. And then Helmut's going to be uncomfortable because killed my girl, and I hate you Russians, and I just.
Here's the thing.
I'm actually concerned about this book now.
Here's the thing too. It's like, the writing was fine. The art was fantastic, as always, Wes Craig. And then the colors by David McKeag, I believe, are great also. What I feel like this book has lost, and the reason why I'm not so much invested in this book anymore, and why actually you probably hear more disappointment in my voice than I would a bad book, is that this book has become one of my favorite books, and has become a little less special because it feels less focused and less directed. It feels like an afterthought now, whereas it doesn't feel like before. It felt like there was passion, like this is his book, this is his story, there's parts of him in this, and now I just feel like Alex was saying, it feels like it was wasting an issue, spinning its wheels, being like, hey, let me use this to recap what was going on. But for what? If I've been invested for 35 issues and you haven't put an issue out in 6 months, don't come back with a recap issue in some drug-infested dream. And I'm going to be like, yeah, that's what I wanted. That's why I waited 6 months to see a drug-infested dream that none of it matters. Like, none of it actually happened.
And he doesn't even, like, you know, if you read the letter after the issue, Rick Remender doesn't even apologize for it. He's like, yeah, I was working on the TV show. I really don't care.
So I read that and I was like, okay, so what we had assumed is, yeah, you spent all, he even says, like, 2018, I spent all my time with that show. That's the reason why, like, I fell behind in the book. Like, he became the showrunner, so he's been writing episodes. He's in charge of, like, running the writer's room, putting the episodes together, being on set. And he's like, it's a crazy year. And I was like, okay, well, it obviously shows in your work. And there's even a part where he says everybody told him not to do it because you'll wear yourself out. And he said, I got to do it because I'm passionate for this story. And then I thought, and like, nothing to Rick Remender, I understand, like, if they're going to make a movie or a TV show out of your series, it's exciting to be like, okay, let's show this in a different medium. But also, I mean, they weren't incorrect. They did take a wear on you because I don't feel like he's focused on his book anymore.
Well, that last letters thing he wrote, he's like, too tired to write letters page. Like, it was like, what?
Yeah, I know. It's like, okay, how about you just not put nothing in? Why you got to be like, I'm too tired to write this? Like,
but this book is too bad that it did start out with, the first year of Marcus, Maria, and everybody else's life at this school. And that was 21 issues of just amazing gold that I loved so much. That's how we actually turned Garrett into wanting to read this book and get caught up for issue 22 and 23 when we started year 2. This doesn't feel like from 22, 23 until 36. This feels like this was just summer vacation, unfortunately. And now we're hopefully getting back into year 2. I don't know. This is one of those books that I need to see some growth. I need to see some change of pace. I need to see some dedication. And unfortunately, maybe we're not going to get that, which I find unfortunate as a reader who loved this book, has been on my top 5 list for years until we finally kind of hit that sledgehammer of a block that was 21.
But I don't think it's over yet. I think, he's finally got the first season come out, and I will say, because I've seen episode 1 of that show, and it was amazing because, all the music he's always referencing in each comic, he actually puts in the show, so that was really cool. But I think maybe now that he's got that first season underway, maybe he's going to step down as showrunner and focus more on his comics, because, like, even Death or Glory hasn't come out in a couple months now.
Yeah, but I figured that went on a hiatus. And I mean, I realize all of his books took a hiatus.
Yeah, I know.
Black
say
Science is on a hiatus, and it was supposed to come out like 2 weeks ago.
Dude, Black Science was supposed to be over by now. Like, what happened?
Yeah, I see. And I think even that got rushed to an end because I thought I saw issue 41 or 42 is the final, and we haven't gotten an issue out of that for 4 months now. So I understand he's busy, but my only concern is then, as a avid reader, as a person who loves your books, I need you to be focused, though. I need you to actually be dedicated to this craft, because without this book, you don't have a TV show. And
yeah, but what if they lose passion for the comic and are solely devoted on the medium that they're working in, and it's like they haven't finished their story? I kind of think of, like, Gurm or G.R. Martin. He has 2 more books left of his giant series, but he's working on so many other, like, encyclopedias and short stories. It's like, okay, well, what the hell? I mean,
but then you lose out money on the thing that actually got you famous. I mean, Deadly Class wouldn't have a TV show without this book, and your fans that love the book, I get fans are going to watch a TV show. Great, that makes you money, but unfortunately, then you're kind of giving everybody the stiff arm and going, well, yes, there's more money to be made doing the show. Great. But what a way to sell out to your avid fans that have been waiting months to get this book, and for your focus and dedication to be on it. I'm actually kind of frustrated with this book. I want more than what we're getting, which is unfortunate for me, and I would assume for you guys.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, that's what you're hearing here, is that most of it's frustration, disappointment. I don't actually think, like I said, the issue is fine. It's just not, it was unnecessary. The art's fantastic. The coloring's fantastic in this issue, actually, which is the strongest point of it, which is why I'm going to give it a 6. Is mostly on that art. And the last page saying they're going to go back to the school. At least then I feel like he has a purpose for the story. But since they went to Mexico, or we've seen Marcus and Maria in Mexico, like that issue where it ended on that cliffhanger, and then the next issue where they went on a road trip down to Mexico, the new kids, ever since then to here, I don't know if this story was supposed to be more and it didn't happen because he fell behind. He decided, let's go back to the school. Like, let me skip this part so I can get back on track. Or it wasn't fully thought out, but it feels like this book has just lost itself in Mexico, basically.
And I thought the turnaround would have been when Victor showed up with, I don't remember what the girlfriend's name was. And I thought, okay, we're going to see Marcus finally put an end to this Victor fight and finally show that he is the top dog. And then just to find out, I'm just going to beat the shit out of you and then walk away. And I get that's a strong character moment to choose not to kill. But the only thing is that Victor's not going to let you just walk off. So there's going to be another round 2, which is fine. This is going to be Carl from Die Hard. He's just going to be more mad at you. And then you are eventually going to have to kill him. I don't know. I wanted that to be the little highlight of our summer vacation in Mexico, was that Victor was going to be taken out.
You know, the good thing is, for people listening to this, and if you want to read and trade, the Mexico part will be like 6 issues, so it'll go fast for you. But it's been the last, 2 years of our life, a year and a half. So
2.5 now.
So that's the reason why is disappointing, because when you're stuck in a not a bad arc. I'm it's still set up great and everything like that, but an arc that I can't be invested in. It's very frustrating to have that amount of time pass, and you just want them to go let's get back on board. And maybe we will. Rick Remender was one of my favorite writers. He still, when he does good, he does good. But to have a book like Low still coming out, right, Alex? Or that end?
Low was on a break as well. It just came back 2 weeks ago, last week.
Low, this book, as Garrett was saying, Death and Glory and Black Science. These were good books if they come out on time and if they're focused. Which I'm not saying don't say, hey, I don't want to take that job. Obviously, maybe, I'm not sure what he makes in comics, but that TV show I can guarantee probably makes more. And also, if they're saying, hey, we want to make your story, do you want to be in charge of it? Of course you're going to say yes. But also I'm saying, maybe then make a schedule, do the Jeff Lemire thing, and figure out when you're going to do your comics and focus on them when you're doing it. These seem like this was done in between days of shooting that movie. Or
let Wes Craig do some writing and you just be the showrunner of the comic.
Yeah.
Because clearly, if Wes Craig has time to pump out these beautiful looking issues, I'm sure he's not that bad of a writer. I'm sure with Rick Remender's limited guidance, he could make this book amazing.
Hey, you can get a story by credit and give somebody the writing.
What was that?
But even if you did the silent issue, then let Wes Craig do the art and give him a little guidance going, okay, this is where the book needs to go. Can we try doing that? Give us a silent issue. You don't have to have all this wordiness.
When Greg Rucka was busy, he said, okay, I'm not going to make it so that this book's not coming out. We're going to do a mini-series. I'll write the stories, but somebody will actually write the issues. I'll give them a plot to me, hey, here's what should happen. And then they'll write the issues while I'm busy getting this thing back on track. And that series was fantastic. I'm not saying you have to do that, but I'm saying also maybe you do that. And
you need a lifeline right now.
Well, maybe that's what we need to. Like you said, we had the X plus 66. We've had Jupiter Circle. There's something that at least does a little fill-in until you get back to the main story. Give us some background information on some of these characters. You know who I'd like to hear more about is Maria. I think she's one of my favorite characters in this book. And I still love this book. I just had higher hopes for this issue, particularly. Yeah. I'm on it. I'm on this book until it ends. Unfortunately, I want there to be a little more dedication. I need to see the show, like Garrett says, if it's actually as good as it sounds. I'm going to enjoy this book, or enjoy the TV show. But
one more thing here I want to say is that I'm not it's very easy for us to sit here and say that, hey, you should be focused on this. I'm not saying that I don't blame him. He is busy, obviously, on that show. But also, I think you have to understand your limitations. Greg Rucka has been working on the Lazarus show, and he decided he was okay, I can't do it this way. We're going to change the way we're doing this book because we're behind on it, and is very he took a step back and was okay, I'm going to do this. Here's how we're going to do this, and I just feel like those issues when they come out still feel like the Lazarus that we fell in love with, but they just come out, not as often. Because I feel like when he works on those books,
Or at all.
he works on those books. So, Garrett, what were you going to say? Anything? What was your rating?
I give it a 6 too. I was going to give it a 5, but Wes Craig's art is just so good. It's not his fault that Rick Remender can't commit to his own book right now. And talking out with you guys, it really is disappointing because yes, I did read the beginning of the series all the way through and caught up, and I thought it hit some of the greatest points in the series. And now it's like when you're in a car for 14 hours. And you think you're making progress, but you've only made it 2 hours, and you're like, holy shit. So that's what it feels like right now. We need to move past what we're at right now.
Alex, what did you give it?
I'm torn between either a 5 or a 6. Like I think I want to say a 5 just because there's nothing that impressed me with this book. It was fine. I mean, it was average, so I'm going to stick with the 5. I really did enjoy the art, but the art wasn't enough to make me enjoy the book. And I don't mean to be ragging on Rick Remender. You're right. There's more money to be had on the TV show. There's more. Maybe that's where he's going. Maybe that's what he really wants.
Yeah, I'm not.
Good for him.
That's what
I'm just saying, I'm upset as a comic book fan, specifically of this book. I just want more. I want dedication, but that's on me. That's not on him.
Rick, all we're saying is
I give it a 5.
All we're saying, Rick, is let us love you.
Yes, let me love you, but give me something to love you for.
Those are the books for this week. Pick them up where you usually pick up your comic books. That's Black Panther, number 8.
Yep.
Yes.
Deadly Class, number 36. Catwoman, number 7. Fantastic Four, number 6. Gideon Falls, number 10. And The Man Who Laughs, number 2. Those... Oh, I got them all, baby. Comixology or at your local comic shop. Make sure you support them. We want to make sure that comics are around until the sun explodes. A little FYI to the audience. I know at the beginning of the show, and you know what? That's on me. I said we're going to do a feature at the end. I have a game planned, and I do. But I'm looking over at a recording device, and I should have plugged this in beforehand. We're at 3%, baby. So either we're going to play this game and it cuts out, and I have to redo the whole thing, or we're just going to say goodnight early. But I think we're just going to say goodnight early because it's been an hour and 20 minutes, which is a good chunk of show. So Wednesday Comics 605 at gmail.com. You can go ahead and send your complaints there. At Marvin _ Sugwarl. You can send your complaints there too. At Wednesday Comics. At Karat218. At Alex Pastrello. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Me and Alex. And like Alex was saying, friend of the show, Casey, we were having a discussion about Spider-Man on Twitter. So if you follow us, you can be part of the discussion. We do encourage you to reply to us. We'll talk to you. Me and Alex, we're open books, baby. Go ahead. We'll talk Spider-Man. You got theories on Spider-Man? Let me know. Facebook.com/Wednesday Comics Podcast. Make sure to like that page and share it with your friends. It's the first place you can go for news. And also when the show pops up, it'll pop up a little thing there. Say, hey, it's available. Go ahead and download it on your podcast catcher of choice. That is on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or Stitcher Radio. Yeah, also others too, but those are the main ones. Make sure you subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe. Like I said, comics forever, baby. The sun explodes, so do the comics. 605-215-1849. That's where you leave your voicemails, especially for a book club. Garrett, what's it called? Book club?
Wednesday Comics, League of Extraordinary Gentle People, proudly presents
Criminal Volume 1. I know I pulled a little shit switcheroo. It was Snagglepuss. And like I said, I will read Snagglepuss and we will talk about it. But that'll be on Twitter. We can talk about it on Twitter. But in me and Sergeant America, I'm going back on Twitter. He said he pulled it out for nothing. I said, hey, okay, are you going to change it again? I told him, but I'm not. Criminal Volume 1, Coward. That is what we're going to be reading to coincide with the new ongoing Criminal from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. And I did check. Coward is colored by somebody different. Betty's not on the book. It is Val Staples, but it's still great no matter what because we still got the Sean Phillip and Ed Brubaker combo. And Val is actually pretty good too. So we'll read that in 3 months. You got 3 months to read that. Give us a voicemail and send in your comments. Anything else in this thing? Oh, rootsoftheswampthing.com, your definitive source for all things Swamp Thing. Make sure to pre-order Holland Files number 3. There was a little preview on a prior episode called Saga of the Swamp Thing, Book 2, which we reviewed on this show. It was Alex's pick for the book club. Make sure to go back and listen to that. The last part of it, we talk about Holland Files and get a little sneak peek exclusive, baby. Wednesday Comics exclusive. But make sure you pre-order that. And, drop a line. rootsoftheswampthing.com. He's on DC World Swampy on Twitter. Facebook.com/rootsoftheswampthing. Like that page. Share that with your friends. I'm telling you, this Swamp Thing is going to be everywhere. And everybody can be like, who's this? It's the next Aquaman, right? You were the cool kid. You like Aquaman. They made fun of him. And now he's got $1 billion movie. You want to be like that with Swamp Thing? No. Get in the know. Be the cool kid. Be the kid who knows about it before everybody else does. Guys, good show. A lot of good books this week. A lot of good discussion. Even if we're not going to have a feature, 2% of battery. Even if we don't have a feature, I feel like we got enough meat and potatoes in this episode. We got Spider-Man talk out front. We got nice comics this week. Actually, a good selection of comics. I think at least 5 or 4 of them I really, really enjoyed. And one of them,
I do a good job when I put that list together.
And one of them
you don't have help at all.
And one of them,
I don't ask these guys what they want.
And one of them wasn't bad, but it was very disappointing. But one day, maybe I'll go back and start reading that. By the way, sometimes on the show I say stuff and I don't pull through, right? I say about 70% of the stuff I do pull through. Maybe it's mostly with dedication to be like, I'm going to read this, right? I said I was going to read Descender like last year. Didn't happen. But last week on the show, we talked about Comixology Unlimited, and I said, I think I'm going to do it. Guess what, baby? Did it. I did pull through on that, and I've been enjoying so far. So if anybody was interested from last week hearing about that, I can vouch. It's been pretty good so far. So especially that discount. That discount's fantastic. There he is, Old Man Alex, Old Man Garrett, and Old Man Marvin. We're getting old, baby, but not till that sun explodes. For Wednesday Comics, I've been Marvin.
I'm Alex.
I'm Garrett.
Hey, everyone. Keep turning those pages.